Families in North Texas, boy, do you have something to look forward to. Universal Studios is a brand that most people trust. Let's face it, Universal, no matter where you go, is amazing. The old concept art looks a lot different than the new. But regardless, kids here in Texas are going to love this. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, we played at the McDonald playground that had a steel-framed hamburger that was about 50 feet high, and we thought it was heaven. Just the fact that we could climb, run, and play set our hearts on fire with joy. Now, these kids will have better. This next generation, they will have so much better. Starting with the hotel. Imagine telling your family that you're going to take a little trip to a themed hotel. Some of the rooms might look like Minion-inspired rooms. Some may look like they're from Jurassic Park, Camp Cretaceous to be exact. Some may look like they're from Shrek, so on and so forth. So the room theming is likely going to be on point. These pictures don't even do it justice. Likely because I just Googled them. There's sure to be shopping and fun inside the hotel. But when you go outside the hotel, you see a green patch of grass. Upon zooming in, you can see that there are actual tunnels underground and slides dotting the landscape. For a kid, this is like child paradise. I mean, who doesn't love to go in underground tunnels and chase their friends? This is amazing. That's one of the many play areas that have been sprinkled around this park. Now, if you look toward the center of this Universal Kids Resort, there seems to be a Minion Land with two little Minion characters if you look up toward the north part of it, and some sort of possible loading dock for the River Rapids ride or boat that goes around the entire park. Now, if you've been on River Rapids, they're extremely exciting. It's a relaxing yet fun way to take a little tour. You might get wet, but if you're totally opposed, just wear a poncho. I mean, hey, the scenery will be worth it. These things seem to go under bridges and should pass by some beautiful, lush landscapes. If you look toward the east of the park, there's SpongeBob Land. Oh, look, is that little tiny trackless rides to the left there? But to the right is Goo Island. Now, if you look up north of that, toward the northeast is the area that seems to be geared toward older kids. Upon first glance, it looks like 3 play areas, but I see Gyrospheres. This tells me that it's likely Camp Cretaceous. There's a lot more going on here, though, because if you go to the website and zoom in using their zooming tool, you can see that there are structures built into the hill, which could indicate an entire themed Jurassic universe that you can traverse, shop in, and the sounds will likely be very immersive. Now, playgrounds. I cannot tell you the level of detail that they've built into these playgrounds, and this is just concept art, so no telling how amazing they'll be. If you look toward the west, you've got what looks like it could be maybe Puss in Boots Land, but that building right there. Okay, almost there. Heading west. Well, actually, we'd have to travel somewhat left. A little more left, a little more to the west. Boom, right there with the red thing on top. The dome. Doesn't it remind you of this building? Yeah, it does. That's definitely, well, possibly the fairy godmother's potion shop. Now, if we go back toward Jurassic Land, take a look at those little gyroscopes. You'll notice that this area is definitely themed after Camp Cretaceous. Because if you think back to scenes from their series on Netflix, the kids travel around in gyrospheres. In the movie, they travel around in gyrospheres as well, I believe in Jurassic Park. But take a look at them. That's a gyrosphere. Looks a lot like what was in that picture, right? Now, traveling back toward Puss in Boots Land, there's that little gyrosphere there. Looks like a spinning ride. Could be really fun if it's spinning in place as well as rotating around. The colors in the Puss in Boots movie look strikingly like the colors used in the architecture, the Spanish-inspired architecture that is in the concept art. So this whole land wouldn't surprise me if it was themed to look just like the movie. Just like the scenes that are in the movie. So a few of them. Especially the restaurant inspired scenes. Well, at least when I look at some of these, they'd make restaurants. It wouldn't shock me if there were Mexican restaurants in the Puss in Boots lands, or at least one Mexican restaurant. I mean, this is Texas. You got to have some Texican, maybe some brisket tacos for families to enjoy. Anyhow, on to Shrekland, which is slightly to the west of Puss in Boots land. When you pass the domed building, you come to what looks like a ride with race cars, but the cars Oh, by the way, that red building reminds me too of the fairy godmother's shop. But there are cars that look like the onion cart in this scene from Shrek, where they're riding and you keep hearing, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" So maybe it'll look somewhat like this, because I'm telling you, that land has a car that if you zoom in, it looks just like an onion cart. Seriously. I think that would be a great ride. So relaxing to roll around the countryside in an onion cart. Super cool theming. One critique I've heard is that Universal Studios seems to have a lot of buildings. You see the tops of buildings. But let's not be fooled. Those buildings could be actual lands. I mean, think about this Kung Fu Panda land. It's very immersive. You got the entire village within the building. So don't let the top of a building let you make a prejudgment in regards to what's under the roof. It could be a really cool restaurant, a dark ride, which I believe they will have dark rides, even though it's stated that they won't necessarily have dark rides. The whole word dark ride or phrase dark ride has a lot of interpretation there. But the lands in themselves are highly immersive. I mean, we got Minion Land where it's beach themed, Goo Lagoon. You've got all kinds of foods that you'll be able to try. Kid Paradise with all the playgrounds and just the sheer realistic feeling when you're in surround sound. It'll feel like an escape from reality. And one thing kids need is play. The art of play cannot be underestimated. Or did I say that wrong? The art of play cannot be overestimated. It's super important. What if in the land designed for older kids, they had ziplining where you could zipline across the cliffs as you're chased by pterodactyls? Or maybe they could have an adventure where you get to watch Jurassic eggs crack open and take notes and who knows what else. Anyhow, should be super exciting, and I'm so elated that we're getting little pieces of what the park will be like.